Have you ever Googled how much does it cost to build a website only to end up more confused than when you started? You'll probably get answers ranging anywhere from free up to $10,000 or maybe even $15,000 and everything in between. On this episode, I'm answering the question once and for all. So if you've been thinking about building or rebuilding your website, but the confusion around cost has been holding you back, then this episode is for you. Welcome to the Six Figure Brand Podcast, where each week we're pulling back the curtain on what it really takes to build a six-figure business as an online service provider. I'm your host, Morgan. I'm a branding expert, online agency owner, mom of two, and military spouse, and I'm obsessed with helping entrepreneurs like you understand the ins and outs of branding so that you can use it to grow your business without sacrificing your sanity. Whether you're just starting out or focused on scaling, we're diving into everything you need to build a profitable and sustainable online business. Let's get to it. How much does it actually cost to build a website? The real answer, honestly, is it depends. It depends on how much you're doing yourself, how much you're hiring out, what platform you're using, and a lot more. So today I'm going to break down all of that stuff and talk you through everything you need to build a website, from buying your domain, hosting, copy, photography, design, and more. I am going to share price ranges, tips for saving money, and some behind the scenes costs that you probably are not thinking about. So first thing you need when you're going to build a website is your domain. So if you're wondering what the heck that is, it's your web address, right? www.yourbusiness.com. This is going to be probably one of your lower expenses. I would expect to pay anywhere from like $10 to, maybe $30 or $40 a year on the high end. And you will purchase this from somewhere like Bluehost, Namecheap, Google Domains. If you're using Squarespace, you can purchase directly through there, etc. However, if there is a particular domain that you really, really want and it's taken, then that's where things might get expensive, like into the range of thousands to tens of thousands of dollars. So if that's the case, I would consider finding something else that you can be happy with. But if that's really, really important to you, or you're running a huge business and you need that domain, then maybe that's an expense that you have to work into your budget. Next is going to be website hosting. So we have our domain. Now, where are we going to actually build the site? Where does it live online? This is going to vary significantly by platform. At Spect & Co., we primarily build websites in Squarespace, and that's going to range anywhere from $25 to like $140 a month. And that's going to include your hosting. They have like some pre-made templates you can use, basic e-commerce functionality, etc. Their most popular plan, the business plan, which is what we set our clients up on, is around $36 a month. And then there's additional fees if you want to use their scheduling tools, email marketing, etc. Wix is another popular one. That's what I used when I built my very first website ever. I have not used it in a long time. I know a lot of people really love it, and I have heard that they're getting a lot better as far as like tech and SEO goes. So do your own research there. But their pricing ranges between $17 and $160 a month. And again, their most popular plan is also around $36 a month. Showit is another popular one. They really burst onto the scene here a few years ago, and it felt like everyone was building their website in Showit or moving their website to Showit. I transparently did try it out for about 6 months, and it was not for me. But a lot of people swear by it. As far as pricing goes, they're going to run you anywhere from $25 to $125 a month, and their most popular plan is around $40 a month, which includes a website and a blog, which is hosted on WordPress. I should note that any of their pricing tiers above $39 are just based solely on blog storage and traffic. So as a smaller online business, you're probably not going to need to go above that $40 a month price point. And finally, Kajabi. Kajabi is a little different than the rest of these because not only are they a website platform, but they are also a membership and course platform. And so their price reflects that. The cheapest option for Kajabi is going to be around $89 a month. And I will say, as someone that uses Kajabi for my membership and builds websites and products on Kajabi for clients, you are probably going to need at least the middle tier. As I started to say, their cheapest option is about $89 a month, and it goes all the way up to $399 a month. So very wide range there. Their most popular plan, and the plan that I use for the Six Figure Brand Society, is about $200 a month. And that includes website, course and membership hosting, email marketing, digital product sales, and they have like a podcast platform, which I'm not super familiar with, but there's a lot in there. So you do get some pretty good bang for your buck, but it is a higher price point for sure. I should also point out that all of these platforms that we just talked about have discounts for paying annually and free trials, so you can kind of test them out and play around before you commit. I would encourage you to choose a platform based on your business needs in the long term, however, and not just on price. Okay. Next is going to be buying a website template. So this will not apply to everyone, but if you're wanting to DIY your site, then buying a template makes it a lot easier for sure. So this is going to be a pre-designed layout that you can customize. It is ideal if you're trying to save money and DIY your site. However, it can also limit you if you're wanting to like get pretty creative or you have really custom content that needs to go on there that is not going to fit into a template well. As far as price goes, it's really all over the map. I would say for like a simple basic template, you could find one for as low as $50 up to maybe around $150. And for a higher end, like really well optimized conversion focused template, I would budget around $200 to $500-ish. It seems to me, and like I said, I'm not a Showit user, that Showit templates do tend to be pricier. However, they are also going to offer you a lot more creative freedom and like less design constraints. So it's kind of up to you to decide like what's more important to you there. Pro tip, if you are buying a template, make sure before you buy it that it includes all of the pages that you're going to need, as well as tutorials on how to customize the template. I can't tell you how many clients have come to me and said, I spent $500 on this website template and I tried to like apply it to my website and I don't know what to do. I'm totally lost. I have no idea how to use it. And then they end up having to pay me to customize their template anyway. Now, if you are not in the DIY camp and you're wanting to hire a website designer, then that's obviously going to be a little pricier depending on platform, their level of experience, how complex your website is, a myriad of things. But rough ballpark pricing, I would say for like a basic site done by somebody who's knows what they're doing, but is definitely more of a beginner, I would budget like $1,000 to $3,000. For a more mid-tier option, I would say $3,000 to $6,000. This is kind of where Spect & Co falls into. We obviously have a ton of experience and skill, but we tend to keep our websites simpler just because that's what works best for our clients. And then a super high-end designer or agency or something super, super custom, or if you're building like a very robust e-commerce site, I would say you're going to be in the $7,000 to $10,000 plus range for design and development. Hiring a website designer is definitely an investment, but you're not paying just for them to build the site for you. I want to make that really clear. I hear a lot of times like, oh, I can use Squarespace from people who are not web strategists and designers. And yes, you can. Squarespace is intentionally built to be very easy for even somebody without design skills to use. But really what you're paying for when you hire somebody to do this for you is the strategy, the tons and tons of experience of working out issues and figuring out custom coding and all of that stuff, and somebody who's going to build you a website that is actually built to convert your visitors into clients. So in addition, I would also consider how much time you're going to save hiring somebody to do this for you versus DIYing, because it could be that in the time that it would take you to build your site yourself, you could book 5 new clients, or you could run a mastermind or something that would pay for that expense. And additionally, how custom and strategic does your site really need to be? So next we're going to talk about copywriting. As you know, besides a beautiful design, the most important thing on your website is going to be the words that sell your service. So the good thing, kind of in addition to design, is that copywriting is typically a one-time cost. That doesn't mean that you can write your website and then never ever update it, but it should be more of a lift on the front end and then just kind of some small updates as time goes on. So again, similar to design, you can either do it yourself, buy a template, or fully hire it out, and the price range is really going to vary depending on which of those you choose. So DIY obviously is free. If you feel like you're a strong writer, if you want to write your own website, if you really don't have the budget to hire somebody or get some support, then that's a great option. The thing to be mindful of here is that you want to make sure that you are writing copy that is for your ideal audience and that is really intended to convert them to paid clients. So kind of the next tier up is going to be probably some sort of copy template. I have one that I recommend to my clients. I will link that in the show notes, that my friend Val Casola sells, and it's fabulous. And I think it's around like $500. So I feel like that's about what you should expect to pay for a good copy template. And then on the higher end of investments is going to be to just fully hire out and have a professional copywriter write your site for you. Typically, this will be done on a project basis. Some people will do it in a VIP day. That's what I did for my website copy. And I would expect to pay anywhere from like $2,000 to $5,000 and up, depending on their skill level, the format in which they do it. Like I said, are they blocking out like a day or a week just for you? Or are they doing it kind of in tandem with other projects? And of course, how many pages of your website are they writing? And I know that people are going to be thinking this. Just a little side note, if you are DIYing or using a tool like ChatGPT or an AI tool to create your copy, that's fine. And that's a great resource, but just please, please, please make sure that you're editing and refining it for one, clarity and accuracy, and also for your personality. We can tell when you just copied and pasted from ChatGPT and didn't do any editing. So just try and like spruce it up and make it yours a little bit. Next is going to be photography. So there are lots of solutions for this, right? We can find free photos on somewhere like Unsplash or Pexels. The next kind of step up would be like a paid stock photography, either membership or just buying like per photo. In that case, I would expect to spend anywhere from like $10 to $30 or $40 a month if it's membership style, and then probably, I don't know, like $2 to $20 a photo, again, depending. And then on the completely opposite end of the spectrum, we have like a custom brand photo shoot. For a custom photo shoot, I would expect to spend over $1,000 at minimum. For a good custom brand photo shoot, I would expect to spend $2,000 to $5,000. Obviously, depending on location, photographer, how many images you get, the length of the session, etc. I would say that if you are gonna invest in a brand photo shoot, it's worth it to probably spend a little more money to have a longer shoot and get more photos, because you might only do that once in the span of like several years. So you want to get as much content from that as possible if that's something that was within your budget to invest in. I think that photography is one of the things that can really make or break a website. So I could design you the most beautiful website ever, and if we have crappy photos on it, it's going to look not great. That does not mean that you can't have a nice looking website if you don't get a photo shoot done. But what it does mean is that you need to be intentional about carefully selecting the right photos for your brand to go on your website, whether that's through a photo shoot or sourcing stock images, etc. Next, number 7, we have my personal favorite, branding. So as you all know, if you're on episode 12 of this podcast, your brand is your business's overall visual identity. It goes a lot deeper than that, and I've talked about this on many past podcast episodes, but really it's the look and the feel of your website, right? And again, we can go all the way from doing it fully yourself for free, all the way up to hiring a custom brand strategist and designer, such as Spect & Co. So similar to copy and your website, like design and development, branding is going to really run the gamut from DIY it for free all the way up to invest many $1,000s in having a professional do it for you. So if you're going to DIY your brand, I would expect to spend at least a few dollars, like 10 to maybe 100 or 200 on like design assets or a Canva membership or things like that you will need in order to DIY your brand. You could probably find a way to do it like for $0 completely for free, but I would build in a little bit of money into your budget for that. Then next we have semi-custom or like templated branding. So this is going to be like a pre-made kit. You can find these on like Etsy, Creative Market, whatever. Sometimes you'll find designers that sell them that will customize them for you, and that should still probably fall into the same price range. And then we have full custom branding, which is going to run you anywhere from $2,000 to like $5,000 plus, depending on what's included in your package. And this, for that price point, should include strategy, brand design, probably some marketing assets, and definitely like a solid set of brand guidelines. Obviously, I am a big proponent of investing in branding when you can and when it makes sense for your business. I think that a professional brand really makes your website look polished and professional and helps you stand out in your industry. And it also helps make all of the other parts of creating your website easier. So choosing photos is easy because your branding kind of dictates how those should look. Writing your copy is easy because your brand dictates how it should sound and feel, that sort of a thing. I would strongly advise against trying to create a website without having some sort of visual brand defined, even if it's just a template or something that you've DIY'd. And if this is something that you're thinking, oh no, I don't know how to DIY anything and I can't afford to hire a designer, there's lots of options out there. I have my 6-Figure Brand Society where we kind of help you through that. The link for that is always in the show notes. But you can find some low cost support online to help you through DIYing your brand if that's something that you need to do. So in total, how much should you budget to create your website? I would say you cannot build a website for less than a couple $100, even if you're DIYing it fully. You're going to have to pay $20 a year or so for your domain, probably $100 to $200 a year for hosting. I would imagine if you are not a web designer that you're going to spend some money on either a brand or a website template or something like that. And then you can find free stock photos and DIY the copywriting. So that's going to run you $200 to like $500 on the lowest budget end. I think the kind of mid-tier option, which is where probably most people listening to this will fall, is anywhere between like $1,500 to maybe $4,000 or $5,000. Domain and hosting costs obviously stay the same, but hopefully you're going to invest a little bit more in branding. I would highly, highly recommend also investing in copywriting, and maybe you're going to hire a designer to help you out to put some of this stuff together. And then on the high end, so you are like a multi-6-figure business, you run a large e-commerce business, something like that, I would budget anywhere from probably $7,000 or $8,000 up to like $15,000 plus if you are fully hiring out every single aspect that we talked about and going with like the most premium options available to you. So I think the key takeaway here really is that the cost of a website depends greatly on how much you DIY versus how much you are able to and how much you want to invest in professional help. I would encourage you to first and foremost evaluate your budget before you decide kind of which one of these routes you want to go. And then I would think hard about what you want to do yourself, what you're able to do yourself, and then try and hire professionals to kind of fill in those gaps. So if you are okay at design and writing is really difficult for you, then maybe you DIY the branding, but you hire out the copy or vice versa. And of course, if you're looking for some more done for you brand and website design support, I would love to hop on a discovery call with you and kind of chat through how that could look. And if you're looking for photographers, copywriters, SEO people, whatever, I know lots of them and I would love to connect you with them. So drop me a DM on Instagram and I can hook you up with whoever is going to support you best. Thanks for tuning in to the 6-Figure Brand Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to rate the show and leave a review on whatever app you're listening on. And as a thank you, I'll send you coffee on me. Yes, I'm serious. As a smaller show for now, you taking the time to do this makes a huge impact on how we can reach more people and how I can continue to create this content for free. When you take a screenshot of your review, follow and tag me on Instagram at @SpectandCo. I'll send you a $5 Starbucks gift card. As always, don't forget to check out the show notes for any links or resources I mentioned during the episode. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you next week.